If you live in the United States like I do, you'll know that there's always a change in the air every week September 11th comes around. People take a moment to remember the attacks of 2001, where they were that day. You know what I'm talking about. The somber posts on social media, news coverage, never forget posters, spiking conspiracy debates. Every September in the US, this has basically become tradition. Never forget. Those words, that mindset, truly have stuck. In recent years, people have begun complaining about why Americans haven't forgotten, why we don't move on from 9/11. It's been more than a decade. We have a shiny new tower, memorials. Why do we still bring it up like it just happened yesterday? Plenty of other terrible atrocities have happened to other countries, yet Americans, myself included, keep 9/11 close to heart. At the creation of this video, it has been 14 years since 9/11. 14 years. A baby born on September 11th, 2001 is entering high school. Kids who were first graders when the attacks happened are fighting the Taliban at this very moment. People call 9/11 our Pearl Harbor, but I don't think that's accurate anymore. Yes, both occurred out of nowhere. Yes, both brought us into a new era, but in the long term, the similarities end there. The US avenged Pearl Harbor. We won against Japan. There was a treaty, there was closure, celebration in Times Square. We never avenged 9/11, and we never will. Sure, bin Laden was killed, we rebuilt a tower, and quote-unquote ended operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, but these never brought satisfaction. How could it? There was still another enemy, another destabilized nation, another continuous war. There are no victories. The era 9/11 brought was not one of a victory reminiscent against the Nazis and Imperial Japanese. The era of 9/11 brought on 2-decade-long wars against a faceless enemy, countless dead civilians, a destabilized Middle East, and in fact created more terrorists than there ever were in 2001. It divided the Islamic and Western world similar to that of the Crusades. It's an age of Orwellian spying against our own citizens, mass media panic, and an era of paranoia. 3,000 people died in the 9/11 attacks, and that's all we have to show for it. A less free, more scared America. Whoever did 9/11, be it Islamic terrorists, the US government, or Illuminati, I'm not going to get in that debate. Whoever did 9/11 will never be brought to justice. Or at least never in a way that will heal that wound. We made that mistake thinking 9/11 was like Pearl Harbor. Since it was Pearl Harbor, we saw our enemy as Japan. We thought we could rebuild Iraq and Afghanistan just the same, but we never can. Japan had a national identity, it was industrialized, educated, it was a single nation. Keyword, nation. When we invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, we didn't see them as Middle Eastern countries with their own complex tribal and religious differences. We saw Japan and Germany. Do what you're familiar with, right? This is why the war on terror failed before it even began. In our anger, we thought about it completely wrong. When 9/11 occurred, we as a nation saw it as Pearl Harbor and wanted that Iwo Jima. We wanted to raise the American flag on that hill in the nameless country which did such an atrocity. We wanted that closure. But in the modern world, there isn't closure. There wasn't a nation that did it. According to the official story, this was borderless Islamic fundamentalists committing a terrorist act. This was an ideology we were fighting, one that could be taken by anyone, funded by anyone, even our supposed allies. A cultural war. Yes, bin Laden was harbored by the Taliban, but disposing of them didn't bring him any closer to justice. It just brought America into the political and sectarian issues of a foreign land. Nation building in an Islamic country never should have been America's goal. Killing the ones directly responsible should have been. Now, this easily could have been the point. Nation building, more fighting, more money for an industrial military complex. I'm not going to get into that debate. What I am saying is that we tried to avenge the deaths of those Americans in the wrong way, and by doing so, never avenged anyone. We never got rid of the pain. 14 years later. This would be like the US still fighting Japan in 1955. America never forgot 9/11, not because we didn't want to, but because we can't. Our world is called the post-9/11 era for a reason. Every day we're reminded of that tragedy, because we're dealing with its consequences. It's why people so young when it happened have such an attachment to it, because we're still fighting to avenge that attack. It will never end in celebration in Times Square. No matter if we go to war with ISIS or turn Iraq into a bikini-clad capitalist paradise, the ending will be the same. It'll be a gradual fade mixed with distrust and bitterness. Pearl Harbor was an opening shot to a war which made America into the industrial military might that dominated the 20th century. 9/11 was a kick to the knee which weakened the legitimacy of a superpower at its height, and created the image of the United States as a bully, not as the hero. Yes, this isn't an alternate history video, but I felt this should be said. Like on Facebook, subscribe if you have not done so. This is Cody from the Alternate History Hub.